Dear God, I want to shout out to the world how much I love you because I know you're running the show. And I know everything you show me is to let me know to let it go, put my ego low, and let you run the show. I know that. It's 100% ingrained on my brain with alacrity. That's one of the most beautiful missions in life, to get to a point where you lay back and trust God. Like I have in my book called Fall Back. There was this guy, and he was just professing his love for God all the time on Twitter. And some atheist, nasty Jew, excuse my language, Hashem, said, stop with this God talk. It's there. Trust God, trust God. How do you even know there's a God? So he said, listen, what's your problem, bro? Leave me alone. I'm just saying to the world how much I trust God. So this atheist billionaire, he said to him, you know what? Let's see how much you trust God. I'm willing to give you $5 million if you go to the top of this 20-story building and fall back. And if God really loves you and you really trust him, he'll save you, no? So right away, this guy goes, yeah, no problem. I'll sign that deal anytime you want. So the atheist got nervous, but he said to himself, this guy's not crazy. He's not going to go to the top of a building and kill himself. So he said, okay, deal. Long story short, the media got involved, this, that. The day finally comes. It's a gorgeous day. He gets in the elevator to go up to the roof. All of a sudden, a storm starts to come. The clouds, the wind, it gets a little bit rainy. All the paparazzi, they're like freaking out. Oh my God, he's gonna die. And he goes to the top of the building, looks up to Hashem in prayer with his two arms stretched up high like Moshe Rabbeinu. And he said, Hashem, you know I'm doing this to show the world how real you are. Don't let me down. And he fell back. And when he was falling down, Hashem all of a sudden made this wind come from underneath him. Like a gust of wind came right when he was about to hit the ground, came from underneath him, lifted him back up right to the top of the building. But this time he wasn't falling back. His back wasn't to the crowd. He landed facing the crowd. Looked up to Shamayim, thanked Hashem, and collected his money. Fall back. You understand? What a beautiful lesson to teach people, bro. Who do you think is running the show? Who do you think, bro? In my building where I live, bro, we keep asking these people, please tell people not to park their cars here illegally. It causes congestion. It causes fights between the residents. It causes people to beep. A year and a half, we're asking these people. Nobody cares. You could write emails. You could talk to the supervisors. You could do whatever you want, bro. The only thing that will work here is praying to God. I saw 5 people yesterday at my pool get harassed over a stupid towel. Bro, I'm not even going to get into this fitted towel rule that they have, how they torture the people, bro. It's absolute harassment, yo. Really, I want to understand in what world, I'm only going to talk about this for like a minute because it's attached to negativity and death, and you don't want to do that, bro. Like I told somebody yesterday, the word machloket is chelek mavet, a piece of death. What you see over here is death, harassment. Yo, people that live here, they want to go to their pool and just relax. They have security, they have a pool girl, the pool Nazi, towel Nazi, I call this girl. God forgive me, bro, but looking, yo, an inch here, oh, the towel's not covering this, that, fighting with the resident, harassing, yo, mamash, harassing. They were like, we're going to call the cops. I said to this one lady, let them call the cops. They're going to get arrested for harassing you. Yo, this is crazy. So what do, bro? You try to talk to them. You try to reason with them. You tell them God is watching. Karma, nothing works with these people, bro. It's like it's already attached to hell. Bro, I see this so clearly, bro. The people think when I talk like this, I'm like hyperbolic. I'm not. When I tell you the Satan is sitting right in that grass in between these two buildings, he's right there, yo. And if he's not there, one of his soldiers is there. Trust me when I tell you, bro. Constantly stirring up the pot. Constantly instigating, getting people to fight against each other. And using one person to make all the people suffer. This person Just what happened yesterday in 2 hours, the 5 fights that I saw, he's going to suffer for that, for big time. But now multiply that for 2 years, every day. Wow. I told you, man, Hashem, when you make people suffer, Hashem will take all the suffering that you gave people and he'll put it in a box. And then one day out of nowhere, he's going to smash that box right on top of your head, yo. And you're going to get such a smack. You have no idea. Or he could do it, I told you, like a monitor lizard, yo. Give you a little bite and let you suffer slowly, man. I don't know what he's going to do. But I can just tell you this. When you make people suffer, you're going to suffer. Enough of that garbage. Let's move on to something more beautiful than that disgustingness. It's called the Torah. And it'll teach you how to deal with these people. So how do you deal with them? You write them letters. You go this. You're friends with people in the office. You talk to this guy. You talk to that guy. Nobody cares. So what do? Fall back and pray to God. For sure that will work. Ask Leah if that didn't work, if that didn't help save her from marrying Esav. Ask her. Go in a dream. Maybe Leah will come to you. You can ask her. She'll tell you. Moshe Rabbeinu, the power of prayer, bro. You have no idea. Yaakov, he prayed. No, he was praying to help him from Esav. What do you think, bro? The most righteous people know. First you go to God, then everything else you do. You understand? I'm going to tell you such beautiful things now about the book of Shmuel. About how Yonatan, who was one of my favorite people in this book, made such a small minor sin, and from that sin came the destruction of a city. Think about this. So what happened was when he was with David and they separated, I don't call him King David because he wasn't the king yet, and he separated. He was anointed to be the king, but he still didn't grab the kingship from Shaul. What Shaul did to David, bro, crazy, bro. This story is so beautiful, man. Pay attention because I'm about to break it down big time. Make it come to life for you, for real. So check it. Listen, this is how it's going to go. So listen, Yonatan, when him and David, so he was running away from King Shaul. So Yonatan met him in the desert, in the wilderness. And when they separated, Yonatan didn't give him any provisions. David had no food. So what did he do? He went to King Achimelech and he asked him to help him out. That was in the city of Nob. That's where the tabernacle was and the ark was. That was like the most holiest city at the time because that's where the ark was before it was eventually brought and built and placed inside the Kodesh HaKodeshim in the Beit HaMikdash. Unbelievable, bro, man. So what happened? So they left each other and he didn't give him food for his way. He didn't give him provisions. And David had no food. So he went to this place in Nob to ask for help and they helped him. And when Shaul found out that they helped him, he got mad and he had them murdered by Doeg. This guy Doeg was so dirty and nasty. And I was thinking about his name, Doeg the Edomite from Edom. They let you know where he was from. You understand? Connected to blood, Dam, Adom. But you guys don't get it, bro. Yo, and then I'm going to teach you about Naval. Naval. His name will tell you what a nasty person is, but he was married to Abigail, one of the really pretty girl, and she was so modest and so pure and charming, and the way she spoke, she was a very, very classy lady who ended up marrying King David. What a beautiful story. So we see from this story how many things we learned. The jealousy of Shaul. Shaul was very, very righteous. It says he was humble, that he was kind, that he had mercy, that he helped people, that he was a good person, that he would always remain in a state of ritual purity. So he had great, great midot. So what was it with Shaul? The jealousy. He became jealous of King David, and that jealousy turned to hate. And I've seen it live in my life. When people get jealous and it turns into hate, and it's so disgusting. You know why? Because it will take you away from all truth. You won't see no truth. That's why he killed 85 high priests. Achimelech, the high priest, and 85 of the Kohanim priests, and Achimelech, the high priest, and everybody in the city of Nob, the women, the children, the donkeys, the oxen, everything. It was a complete slaughter. And that's what it says. He killed them with the sword. That's why him and his sons died by the sword. King Shaul did tshuva, thank God. Because if not, he'd be in Gehenom. Big time. big time. You know how much tragedies came out of his jealousy? But thank God in the end he fixed it. He went to battle knowing he was going to die for the sake of Israel. Everybody ran away. He stood, fought the Plishtim, died, they beheaded him, and nailed him to a wall. And the Jews had to go and get him back, bro. You think I'm joking when I tell you these things? I'm not. Study Torah, bro. It's going to open your mind to the justice of God. It's going to open your mind to the power and the might of His glory. It's going to open your mind to when you go against God and His children, you're going to pay and pay heavy if you don't fix it. Man, you better be like a lamb. You understand what I'm telling you? Like a little lamb. Be like a little lamb. Don't be like a lion. You understand? That's my advice to you. That's what I would tell your kid. It looks like the lion has more power. It looks like the lion has more fame. It looks like the lion has more of everything. And he does in this physical world. But in the next world, the lamb. That's who gets praised. God forbid I shouldn't have said it like that, but you understand. The person who acts like a lamb in this world will be like a lion in the next world. That's it. Appreciate you, Hashem. Appreciate you, Hashem. I try to tell my sister all the time, God is running the show here. Like right now, she doesn't even listen to my talks. But if she did, she would see right there how God gave me that exact phrase to say it. Perfect. You don't get it, man. He's running the show. And there was something I remembered right now that is nice, man. There was this lady, and she was taking care of this like severely handicapped autistic kid. And you know what she said? She said, I became a better person because of him. Think about how deep that is. You would think a mother would get a kid like this. She'd be miserable. She'd be sick. I don't want it. I should have had an abortion. God forbid. No, look what she's saying. She's saying that this baby taught her to appreciate life and to be a better person. Man, Hashem, you are deep, bro. Deep, 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 deep. I told you, Jacques Cousteau, deep. You don't get it, man. When you see through the physical into the spiritual, you get to see secrets that most people can't see. Do you believe right now that there's angels floating in the sky? If there was, you couldn't see them. You know why? Because you go crazy. And that's the mercy that Hashem has on you. You have no idea, man, how He keeps you alive, how your lungs take oxygen and put it into the blood, how your kidneys work, how your liver works, how your brain works, how your heart works. Are you crazy, bro? Show me a muscle that flexes on its own. Your heart does that by itself. Could be for 120 years, man. Do you understand how many times a heart would beep in 120 years? I said beep, beep, because the people all day they beep. I meant beep. That's what you got to do. You got to laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take things like that, like these people beeping by the guard gate. You got to make jokes out of it. I said to somebody, to my mom, I go, Ma, every time I hear them beep, you know what I'm going to do? Tshuva. Every time I hear them beep, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, God is great. That's it. I'm going to take a negative and change it into a positive. And that's what life's about, bro. That's really what life's about. Because if you have God on your side and you're clever and you're smart and you know what's going on in this world, you ain't never going to lose, bro. Never. I could go to war. I mean, I never go to war, not with a fly. But I could go to war with 1 billion people with no weaponry, by myself, with a Torah in my hand, backed by God, and I will walk with such confidence, bro. That's the power of God. You understand? You have no idea, bro. No idea. Let's get into my notes right now. Jonathan shot arrows to indicate to David whether his father wanted to kill him or not. The book says that he shot 3 arrows, and we learned that someone who gossips has a 3-arrow tongue because he hurts 3 people at the same time. Himself, the one listening, and the one he's talking about. In the merit of his tears, David achieved greatness, and his enemies were vanquished. As he asked of God in Psalms 56:9, put my tears in your flask. Are they not in your ledger? The shedding of tears are never left unanswered. The gate of tears always remain open because tears show emotion and love. Have you ever cried because you studied Torah? I have done that. A lot, yo, thank God. Thank God I could say that with confidence, bro. Study Torah and cry, because the wisdom, it brings love, and the love brings tears, man, is deep. When Jonathan and David departed, Jonathan made a mistake because he didn't give him any provisions to take with him. This forced David to go to Nov, which ended up being the death of 85 Kohen priests, including the high priest, not Avimelech, Achimelech, and the ravaging of the city. The good deed of escorting one's guests in this way is very important. Judges 1:26 and Deuteronomy 21:7. There are 5 things which a host must do for his guests. Number 1, extend him food. Number 2, drinks. Number 3, a place to sleep. Number 4, escort him on his way. And number 5, what Jonathan forgot to do, give him provisions as he continues his journey. There's a verse in the Torah where God says, I am testing you and your children to reward you in your end. And you want to know what's amazing about that? There's 2 times in the Torah where they give proof of afterlife. One is in Balak, Parshas Balak, when Bilam said about Yaakov, I want my end to be like the end of Jacob. Go check, that's in that Parsha. And then in this one, I think it's in Re'eh, I'm testing you and your children in order to reward you in your end. Ba'acharitecha, that's in the next world. I just gave you 2 solid proofs for afterlife. And you know, that's one of the things that will refine a person's character, is going through tests, especially when he passed the test. Even when he fails it, he's refining his character, because he only passed it 85%. He still didn't pass it, but he tried. That will refine his character, and he'll build and build and build. But the truth is, if you don't want God to test you anymore, or to give you in situations where you have stress and drama and tests, just pass the test. Show him that you're never going to get mad. You know what it is, bro? The aim is to be, you're going to lose it when I say this, yo. The aim is to be like a service dog. Think about it. A service dog, there could be a war going on and he will be sitting calmly observing and doing what needs to be done. I cannot believe I'm using a service dog as an example of how to behave. It's a dog, but it's a great example, yo. We all know it. I know you guys see service dogs, so you know what I'm talking about. And it says this generation will have the face of a dog. I wish it would have said this generation would have the face of a service dog. Not a service dog. It's the opposite today. Think about it. Today, the people act like a service dog or like a wild animal dog. Let's be real. Which one? It's a wild animal dog. That's what they do, bro. They bark like crazy. My mother would say, oh my God, you sound just like a dog. I said, yeah. Because when you hear dogs barking for 20 years straight, you're going to know how to make the sound. What do you think? Give me a break. King David cursed Doeg the Edomite. Doeg means nervous. You should be nervous. You're such a Rasha, Doeg. The Edomite, when he said God will destroy you for eternity. Look what King David said to him. He said God will destroy you for eternity. He will annihilate you and sever you from your tent. Behold, this is the man who did not make God his stronghold, but trusted in his bounteous wealth. Psalms 52. King David was saying, why pride yourself with evil, O mighty warrior? You are mighty, wealthy, and head of the Sanhedrin. How could you perform such evil? Is it a sign of might to see one's fellow standing near a pit and push him in? Is it proof of strength to see one's fellow on the edge of the roof and push him off? On the contrary, might is extending a hand to one's fellow who's fallen into a pit. It's raising him from the pit once he's fallen in. And you saw Saul grow angry with me and did nothing but made matters worse. That's what he told him. I want to read that again. I like that. King David was saying, why pride yourself with evil, O mighty warrior? You are mighty, wealthy, and head of the Sanhedrin. How could you perform such evil? Is it a sign of might to see one's fellow standing near a pit and push him in? Is it proof of strength to see one's fellow on the edge of the roof and push him off? On the contrary, might is extending a hand to one's fellow who's fallen into a pit. It's raising him from the pit once he's fallen in. You see? You saw Saul grow angry with me and did nothing but made matters worse. That's what he told them. Wow. When one brings the sacrifice to the temple, or when one brings a sacrifice to the temple, he must stay overnight. King David slew Goliath in the valley of Elah. Just know this. It's good to have this knowledge. Jealousy has the power to undermine all justice. Look at what King Shaul did, bro. Yo, man, out of jealousy, 3 times he tried to kill King David. He tried to kill his own son. He made Doeg kill all the people of Nov. And it extends further than that, yo. Trust me when I tell you. King David fled and his family joined him in the cave of Adullam. King David asked for help from the king of Moab because he descended from Ruth, the Moabite. However, King David was told by the prophet of God to depart to the land of Judah, to the forest of Chareth, because the king of Moab was planning to kill him by turning him over to King Saul. Look at how beautiful. Hashem spoke to King David through a prophet and let him know, be careful. The first 7 years of King David's reign was relegated to the Judean territory. From here we learn the severity of gossip mongering. It's even worse than bloodshed. A person who murders only extinguishes 1 life, but someone who speaks gossip extinguishes 3, his own, that of the one who accepts his words, and that of the one that he was talking about. Doeg spoke against Ahimelech and told King Shaul that he betrayed him. Ahimelech was killed. Saul died because of this sin, and Doeg was uprooted from this world and the next. Slander and tale-bearing have the power to kill without either witnesses or warning, and even when spoken accidentally, powerful. Samuel 22:18, King Saul commanded Doeg to kill the 85 Kohen priests. King Saul said to Doeg, you already killed them with your tongue, now kill them with your sword. Not only did he kill the 85 priests, he killed Ahimelech, everybody in the city. And this was a holy city where the Ark of God was stationed. Unbelievable. You don't even understand, bro. King David said, may you destroy the speakers of falsehood, a bloodthirsty and deceitful man God abhors. He was referring to Doeg and Achitophel. Samuel 22:19, and this is very scary. And Nov, the city of the Kohen priests, he smote by the sword men, women, children, infants, oxen, donkeys, and sheep, all by the sword. Saul destroyed to instill fear in the people. That's why he destroyed Nov. All these Kohen priests that were murdered by Saul were all from the house of Eli, and the house of Eli was cursed because of the transgressions of his sons. The curse was particularly harsh, where all of his descendants would die young and get murdered. This prophecy came true when they were killed in the city of Nov. Someone from the house of Eli escaped, and his name was Eviatar. He escaped and ran to King David and told him what had happened. The Philistines attacked the city of Keilah. The people of Zit reported David's exact location to Saul. Look how evil these people are. These were Jews, I believe, from the tribe of Judah. It says he's in the strongholds in the forest, in the hill of Khalilah, which is to the right of Yeshimon. Think about that. I give the exact location where he is. Why? Because I wanted him dead. This is the prayer that David said, asking God to save him. The prayer of David when he was hiding in the cave. With my voice I cry out to God. With my voice I plead to God. I pour out my complaint before him. My trouble I declare before him. When my spirit faints within me, then you know my path. On this way that I walk, they have laid a snare for me. I look to the right and see, but there's no one that knows me. I have nowhere to flee. No one cares to save my soul. I cried out to you, O God. I said, you are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Hearken to my cry, for I have been brought very low. Save me from my pursuers, for they are stronger than me. Release my soul from confinement in order to give thanks to your name. The righteous will crown themselves with me, for you will bestow kindness upon me. Unbelievable. Yeah, they were here. Look, the Ziphites who betrayed David were actually from the tribe of Judah. Proverbs 16:32. Pay attention, because it's always wisdom when it's anything connected to God. Proverbs 16:32. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who controls his spirit than the conqueror of a city. Let me read that again when I get frustrated with my building. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who controls his spirit than the conqueror of a city. A true leader must be a compassionate warrior. How do we learn? We learned that from King David. King David swore not to kill Saul, but said nothing about his descendants, as we later see in the second book of Samuel, chapter 21. David handed over 7 of Saul's descendants to the Gibeonites, who hung them. When Joshua passed away, the Jewish people had not shown the proper respect for the leader who had brought them to the land of Israel. Instead of affording him the eulogy of a great leader, the people quickly buried him, and returned to their work. For this, God caused the nearby volcano to rumble and shake, threatening to erupt. Joshua 24:30. Because of this, the people were very careful to show Samuel the proper respect. Proverbs 23:6. Do not partake of the bread of he who has an evil eye. Anyone who closes his eyes to charity is likened to an idolater, because he worships his money and cannot bear to part with it. Gotta read that again. Anyone who closes his eyes to charity is likened to an idolater. Why? Because he worships his money and cannot bear to part with it. The Gemara states, whoever slanders one with his tongue deserves to be put to death with a stone. The wicked Naval was granted an extra 10 days of life because he gave a sip of water to each of David's 10 youths. An ungrateful person is quickly punished because Naval refused to show appreciation for the protection which King David and his men had given his sheep and shepherds in the wilderness. He died after 10 days. Even Shimi ben Gera, whose crime against David was much more serious, was not so severely punished. And you can see that in the second book of Samuel 16 and 19. Abigail was blessed with elegance and spoke with humility and charm. She was Naval's wife, and after he died, she married King David. A Democrat Jew is an oxymoron. You forfeit your right to be a Jew when you become a Democrat. You know why? Because you're anti-God. So they're not trying to talk to you right now. Yeah, the minute you do tshuva in Shamayim, they welcome you like a king. But right now, your status of not kosher. But you know what the beauty is? You could become kosher so fast. You know how? Just do tshuva. Just say you're sorry for your sin and do your best to fix it and try. Nobody, if you don't keep Shabbat, but your whole life you try to keep Shabbat, but you really don't, but you really try. But and then you failed. You couldn't really keep Shabbat the whole time. You put on the TV, you did it, but you tried. You'll get credit like you did it. I'll prove it to you right now. If me and you were standing right now and a lady fell and we both ran to pick her up and you got there first and picked her up, do I still get credit? Yes, but I didn't do it. I didn't pick her up. I didn't keep Shabbat, but I tried. You don't get it, yo. When Hashem separated the world into 70 nations, he appointed an angel over each nation. The only nation that does not have an angel appointed over them is Israel, as it says in Deuteronomy 32:9, for his own nation remained God's portion. That's why if a Jew lives outside of Israel, it's almost like he's being guided by an angel and not by God himself. That's why it's so important for a Jew to live in Israel. That's why it says in Deuteronomy 11:12, and the eyes of God, your Lord, are on the land all the time. It's better to live in the land of Israel, even if most of the city's inhabitants are Gentiles, than to live in the diaspora, even if most of the city's inhabitants are Jews. Super deep. Gotta read that again. It's better to live in the land of Israel, even if most of the city's inhabitants are Gentiles, than to live in the diaspora, even if most of the city's inhabitants are Jews. When King David addressed Avner, he spoke very strict to him, basically told him that God is going to kill you for not watching over your master. What King David was saying that is Avner claimed that he was only doing his job when he tried to kill King David because he was doing what Saul told him. So King David said to him, now, so how come you're not doing your job now? I just broke into your camp, stole your sword, and could have killed all of you. You weren't doing your job, bro. That's what he was telling him. It's like when Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu said, I can't talk. So Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, when you cursed the Egyptian with my holy name, you spoke very well. What's the problem? You can speak. I like that. Samuel 28:10. Saul swore to her by God, saying, as God lives, no punishment will befall you as a result of this thing. So the woman said to him, who should I conjure up for you? And he said, bring Samuel up for me. God even has mercy on a thief. As we learn, a person who steals an ox must pay 5 oxen, but the one who steals a sheep pays only 4. Why? Because the reason is that God has mercy on the thief that steals the sheep, because he cannot lead it away like an ox. but he has to carry it on his shoulders. So for this shame, Hashem reduces his punishment. That's the beauty of Hashem. Anyone who commits a sin and then is embarrassed about it is forgiven for all his sins. Beautiful. Anyone who commits a sin and then is embarrassed about it is forgiven for all his sins. When Saul listed the ways he tried to contact God, he made no mention of the breastplate. You know why? Because he was too ashamed to bring it up, because he put to death all the citizens of Nob, including the high priest who was the bearer of the breastplate. Samuel chapter 22. We know Shaul was forgiven for the sin because in Samuel's prophetic words, in the next verse, he says, tomorrow you and your sons will be with me in heaven. David was able to defeat Amalek's descendant Esav because he had with him men from the tribe of Manasseh. Book of Chronicles 12:21. Only someone from the tribe of Joseph would be able to defeat Esav. You know why? Because he was the only one that respected his father on the same level. Remember when Jacob told him, go to Shechem and look for your brothers? He knew it was going to be a dangerous mission, but he went. Genesis 37:13. The Philistine waged the war against Shaul, and at the same time Amalek attacked Israel and looted and plundered the city of Ziklag. They took the whole city captive, including the 2 wives of David. Wow. That's when David went and got them back. After the war, some of David's men complained that they didn't want to share the spoils with some of the fighters that remained behind to watch the property because they felt they didn't actually fight in the battle. David told them they were mistaken and to think that they won the war not because of their own hand, but the reason is they won the war because of God's hand. So because of that, everyone deserves an equal share. See, that's the beauty of Hashem. Just like it happened with the sheep and the ox, and now over here. Hashem is so merciful, yo. It's like craziness, man. But you know what it is about Hashem that's beautiful? He's merciful, but he doesn't misplace his mercy. He only gives mercy to those who deserve mercy. And how do you get mercy? By having mercy on others. King David said to Shaul, I could have killed you, but I showed restraint. And Shaul blessed him for that, yo. How dope is that? How dope is that? King Shaul is a very interesting person, bro. Very interesting. I know somebody who's just like King Shaul. Tall, knowledgeable, and super jealous. I wonder if he's from the tribe of Benjamin. I bet you he is, yo. Well, I can't bet, but I would say maybe he is, yo. Oh, Hashem. Thank you so much, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for watching over me, for protecting my name when people talk bad behind my back. Crazy people that we have to deal with in this world, man. Without you, I wouldn't even have mental health. I only have mental health because you protect me, because you guide me, because you lift me up, because you teach me, because you show me, because you hold me in your arms and let me know it's going to be okay as long as I continue my path to get closer to you, to be with you, to adore you, to praise you, and to know that there's nobody else even close to you. Love you, Hashem.